Hello again, you guys. I don't want to talk negative about what just happened because I know the young whippersnapper really wanted to be interviewed, but I waited around and there was absolutely nothing else I could do except shut down the studio. That's why if you are wanting to be interviewed in September by me, make sure you're 5 minutes early and make sure you have a good internet connection. Whether by phone, you're at home connected to your Wi-Fi at home, flip your phone around so it can look like this. If you have that feature, also, um, if you're on a computer, make sure you're using a certain browser because, like, Safari doesn't do um, StreamYard. Uh, I think Google and Firefox does. So you have to be careful of those things. You have to be really careful. And there's absolutely nothing else I can do. I'm not going to look at any messages until after I interview this second guest. Her name is Lynette Lanchester, and she agreed she was coming. I hate that I couldn't interview the young whippersnapper, but hey, things happen. We can reschedule for another time. If he wrote me, he said it was night. He just kept saying it was night. He couldn't hear me, but we can reschedule for another time in September. No big deal. I'm not saying, I'll give him one more chance. Like I've given women and men second, third chances. So it's no big deal. But his internet was shot. If you had to rate on an A to F, it was a G. So yeah. Anyway, like I was saying, numbers are everywhere. Like I'm holding up 2 hands. And I don't know. I was at Winn Dixie and it fell. It was a fumble. It wasn't even a fumble. It was an F up. If y'all were listening to me earlier, it was a straight F up when I was 15 working at Winn Dixie. I felt like SpongeBob, you know. I felt like SpongeBob. I was like, what did I say? I was like, I'm ready. You know what I mean? That's the kind of momentum I got. I got up every day happy. And then when I got that little measly $200-300 paycheck every 2 weeks because I was on a work permit, I was so happy. I went to Wendy's at age 12 and they laughed at me. They was like, come back when you're 15. So funny. I was like, I'm ready to work. I need a job. I need a job, man. Let me tell you something nasty and gross that happened. This is just 27 minutes of unscripted talking. Cause I want y'all to get to know who and how I was, raised and stuff. So anyway, it was nighttime and the shift was over between my father and my brother. They used to come home with plenty of food because we stayed at a hotel room. And what happened was, they asked us, "What do we want?" I don't even understand how we communicated. How did we communicate? Because it damn sure wasn't a cell phone. Anyway, they was like, "What do you want?" I said, "Some juice." What kind of juice? My favorite juice used to be Hawaiian Punch until my dad told me it'd get me lockjaw. I didn't even know what lockjaw is. I don't even know if lockjaw is true. I think I looked it up. It's sort of true. So anyway, next thing I know, they're coming out of Captain D's. They got fish. They got fried fish. They got raw fish. They got raw shrimp in a cup. They got everything that you can think of because that stuff get spoiled fast. So they throw it away or they give it away to the people that work there. They wasn't stealing nothing. Next thing I know, I grabbed the cup, I put the straw in, and I sucked the juice. And it was shrimp juice. It was raw shrimp juice. I told you, I am such a nerd. I spit it out. I did swallow some of it, but I spat it out. And yeah, it was terrible, y'all. It was so terrible, y'all. I was like, what is going on? I was 13 years old. Yeah, that was a dark, dark day for me. It was a really dark, dark day. Now, it's really nothing else except those two things. Oh my God. Uh, Such a dark, dark time. Just imagine being that thirsty, how much juice went down the back of your throat. So liquid and stuff. I can remember, this is just going down memory lane. I can remember the telephone booths, Verizon and AT&T. I can remember the Greyhound bus station, having to pay a quarter to use the bathroom. We crawled right under it, which was very trifling to me. I would never crawl under it just to not pay 25 cents no more. I was just a child though. So I would crawl under it just to use the bathroom. Because I was like, why are we paying 25 cents just to use the bathroom? You got to pay to use the bathroom. You got to pay to watch TV. Like, I can see pay for food, but you're paying $1.25 to watch TV for 30 minutes or 15 minutes. When it take the Greyhound bus longer to come. And then you got to pay a quarter to open up a door. Some of the doors were messed up because people were getting tired. Some of the doors were messed up. And I don't know if the Greyhound bus station is still there on North Tryon. I think it's on North Tryon in Charlotte, North Carolina. But yeah, man. Charlotte, I watched Charlotte grow. And I'm proud of that. I didn't have good times all the time, but I watched Charlotte grow. I never got to go to the Concord Kannapolis Mall, but I watched Charlotte grow. It was nothing in Charlotte. It was absolutely nothing. You go to Charlotte now, you got everything you need. You went to Charlotte in the early 90s, there was nothing. Nothing. We had to walk across town. Charlotte is pretty small, but I'm pretty sure it's done grown and everything. But we used to have to walk across town in the middle of the night. And they didn't even have a bus station. Like, they had a Greyhound station, but they didn't even have a bus station. What I mean by that is, how we in Washington State, they have many bus stations. Charlotte itself only had one bus station. I was there when they built it. And it was just 3 ways, one way in, one way out, buses on each side. It was like one going one way, one going one way, one going one way, one going one way. So like 4 slots. They had a Burger King and everything. They built it from ground up. And then they started growing they probably got subways now, subway systems by now. They had no subway systems. Nothing. There was nothing. The last time I went there was in 2005. And it looked totally different. I tell you that. We used to walk down the street when Doritos was a quarter, but you're getting like 25% in the back. So you basically buying what you get. Walking down, I had dreams that I would go back there and stay downtown in a hotel room and just walk downtown where I used to be downtown. Downtown isn't as big as you think it is, but it was beautiful, man. It was beautiful. It was very beautiful out there. And never forget Charlotte. DC already had its roots with its transit system and the subway. I'm from DC, but when I was 6, I moved down to Charlotte, or 5 or 4, moved down to Charlotte, North Carolina. And it's such a beautiful, I saw it a different way than everybody else saw it. I just remember watching the Channel 9 news all the time, and they talking about growing more and more and more. And I was just so happy. I was like, yay, we getting this, yay, we getting that. And let me tell you what I saw as being 6 or 7 years old. I was 6 or 7 years old, and me and my sister was in a room on Wheatley Avenue. And this is a true story. Very, very true story. This is where we stayed at. We stayed on a slave plantation, an older slave plantation that entailed just shacks of a house. Like you just had a house that barely, it was brick, but in the inside it was like wood. The wood is chipping, the paint is coming off, and it was terrible living conditions for children. I hope they changed that. No heat, no nothing. You ask for a working refrigerator, they come by, they play games like, oh, it's just the part we need. And there was no working refrigerator. We had to use coolers for our food. This is real. So we're asleep. I hear a big bang. I don't know if my sister heard it or not. And this guy storms in the house. I'm glad I didn't see that experience. But he storms in the house. He's covered in blood. He's been stabbed multiple times. And he's saying, please help me. So my dad goes and helps him and try to persuade him to leave the house before me and Jessica just jumps up and sees what's going on. And then when we do come out, my mother said, go back in, it's blood everywhere. I mean, you see a drop of blood, you go crazy. I'm talking about at least a gallon of blood. It just seemed like you can skate off of it. That's how damaged this guy was. I never saw his face or body, but he said he's been stabbed multiple times. I don't even know if they did a segment on it for TV. But yeah, he was stabbed multiple times. And that was a sad, very, 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 very sad story. I hope he made it. I can't ask my mother. She's passed away. I can't ask my dad. He has dementia. And I'm going to visit my dad. He has dementia. He did some messed up things, but I'm going to visit him because, he's alone. for some reason, he still has faith that he's getting out soon. I tried to get him out, but that wouldn't have worked because I would have had more stuff to deal with. You know, he's paralyzed from the waist down, so he's paraplegic. You know, he lost his feelings in his legs, and I I feel so bad for him. We have a connection though, and I'm gonna tell you why. I got 7 minutes, no 5. When I was pregnant with my first child, Maurice Malik Cloud, I call him Cloud. I sat up there and I had him prematurely. Now, he was 2 pounds, 8 ounces. The diaper, I would never forget how small the diaper was to fit him. He stayed in an incubator. And to get to the point before I had him via C-section, he they told me that they wanted to take the baby out because the heart rate dropped on June 27th. That's my dad's birthday. I said, let's do it. They's like, well, we're going to give it another day. So Maurice's birthday is June 28th, 2004. Now, my dad's birthday, I think he's 1956, June 27th. So they're back to back. And that's the connection that I have with my son, with my first son. And yeah, I remember like birth. I remember I tried to be as prepared as possible. I was watching remember those parenting, those birthing 4 minutes, those birthing episodes. I forgot what they call it, where women get prepared to have a baby and they show the woman in a documentary of her getting a C-section or having a baby. I remember one day they gave me an epidural because they gave me a spinal twice. They gave me a spinal with Maurice, but I remember one day getting an epidural with Rahim, I want to say. And that's when a new SpongeBob video came out about SpongeBob cussing. Because when I came home, it was freshly new. But to get back to the point, they gave me an epidural and my leg was slipping. I couldn't grab it because it was so heavy. It's like you can feel your leg, but you can't do nothing. It's numb. And so it was slipping off, and had it fell all the way off the bed, I would have fell off the bed because the rails was off. I commend Vandenberg. I commend Blanchfield. I commend Tripler. Those are the 3 hospitals I had 3 of my sons at. So I went to Vanderbilt. If y'all know, that's in Nashville. Very prestigious. They had to do surgery on my son too. Very prestigious. I went to Blanchfield. Blanchfield, I felt a little tugging, but it wasn't nothing crazy. And Tripler. Wonderful. I miss Hawaii. I can't afford Hawaii. If I ever become a millionaire, like a super millionaire between the 10 and 20 million, I'm moving back to Hawaii. But the only thing I can't stand is the centipede, the millipedes, because you have to chop off their head and you can't grab their head and throw it away, because once you chop off their head, 1 minute, once you chop off their head, they still can bite you. They're still alive. I saw it in my house. I went crazy. That thing, it was going a little slower than a centipede, because they got centipedes, millipedes, and all their bugs are just, imagine a roach, like, not like that big, but it's like every bug that you can imagine is bigger. The snails, you know, are big. When I saw the snails, I said, oh no. I was so scared. I put some salt on it and it still was alive. I said, no, forget this. So yeah, I Nashville, Tennessee was you know, a good place. I had some hiccups, I had some bad things happen, but I got to see Nashville. And that's all that matters. I didn't get to venture out that much, but I did get to have fun. I did get to spend time with my kids, and I did get to work in the military at Fort Campbell, Kentucky. I went to Fort Knox, Kentucky, and that's where they keep the gold. Let me see if she's online. Hold on. I can't tell her to be 5 minutes early when I'm not early. If she's online, I'm going to get off of here and get prepared. There she go. Okay, let's get started. I'll be back on here. Bye.